Brian's here.
We're live. And guess what? We'll be right back after this. Hopefully you had sound in that. I don't know, but we're live. We are live somewhere. So we're not telling you where, but we are live. I'm Lynn Serrano.
And I'm Brian Kelm.
And the one and only
A stranger.
Rex Steven Sykes is here with us live. We are all here together. How cool is that?
Thank you, Starbucks.
Don't tell anybody. We're not getting paid for that.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. We're at a place.
We're at a place. Undisclosed. Well, we're in Wisconsin. How's that?
Yep.
You can figure out. Starbucks is in every corner, so I'm not worried about you guys finding us. But we are live. We are seriously live. Thank you, Rex, for showing up. And
oh my God, here they come. They're flocking to us now. They found us. Go away. Go
There's
away.
so many, I can't see them all.
Paparazzi. This is so awesome. You know, you meet people and you, through the COVID and everything, you get to know them. And then now we're in the real world again. And it's so nice when you connect again. And, you know, I've been here with them for about an hour now. And it's no different than when we're in a Zoom, is it?
No.
It's just so awesome. So we're here talking randomly. Feel free to make comments if you'd like. I'm not used to doing this on the iPhone, or iPad, so just whatever. So don't be the deer in the headlights, guys. We act like we've never been online before.
Well, we've had a lot of conversations so far, from customer experience to how people think, to companies that have no integrity. You know, different scenarios, different topics, and it's been very good.
And I want to say it's been amazing listening to Brian. Not because I didn't already know that he's amazing, but we've had this really marvelous conversation about customer experience from Brian's vantage point, and that's something that you need to embrace and understand a whole lot more of from him.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Rex. It's something that is deeply rooted in psychology, but it's around us all the time, every day. No matter who we do business with, where we stay, where we travel, there's always an opportunity to be treated better and for people to take ownership of who they're serving. You know, the cost of marketing and advertising doesn't go down. You know, the value of a new customer never goes down, right? In terms of the lifetime value of them. And it's just such a fascinating experience that all of us have had stories that we've witnessed, you know, of where we could be served better. Right? We could serve others better. It's twofold. But if we don't take action on it, and if we don't understand what it is, we're never going to do anything about it.
Yeah. And I want to debunk the myths. Brian does not have no red hair whatsoever. I mean, usually,
filter.
Yeah, his filters and lighting make his hair look red all the time.
Yeah.
So his hair is not red, people.
When I looked like I had sunburn, it was just bad lighting. I didn't know what I was doing.
So. But yeah, the customer service. I mean, we talked a little bit about when Rex got his phone, and you know, he tried to go through the proper channels, and the gist there, it took him knowing somebody to get it done right. And it shouldn't. Not every customer feel like they have to know somebody to get something right. And then my dad had a riding lawnmower, and we had a customer service situation there. Lady was quite rude, and I spoke to another sales technician, and pretty much he said, "I'll help you." And afterwards, I said, "You know, I just want you to know I wasn't complaining, but this woman wasn't very friendly." And he acknowledged that she's less than polite, and she's more than the problem, and that he says it's hard to find people at work. And so, you know, but again, all that mattered to me is we got it resolved in 3 hours for my dad. That lady told me it would take weeks before we get the right lawnmower back. So, and you know, when I work at a hotel, we're empowered as an employee to go ahead and do whatever to make the customer happy. So, you know, whether you're on one side or the other, I mean, things happen, and how you respond to it and how you make it better is really where everything's at. And so,
and there's one thing I didn't share in our conversation, which there's been companies that have challenged each other, where how many times they can screw up, and how many free vouchers, or how many times that they can make it right, and the company acknowledges them for it. They have a free rein to make it right without having to go ask somebody. Right? Which I always find is very empowering, because not only does it show me their training, right, but they also trust their employees that they're going to do what it's right. And a lot of times it's over two things. Number one, the customer wants to be heard. They just want, without somebody judging them, assessing them, or anything like that. And number two is that they're usually happy with the smallest things, you know, where it's not about it. The worst thing that can happen is when somebody just goes to the fail safe of like, hey, here's a gift card for your next experience, but I'm unhappy now. What are you going to do with me right now to make it well? And so it's like, hey, how about a free cookie? Or how about dessert on me? Okay, so how many free desserts is it going to take to keep somebody to be a lifetime customer?
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous question, but it's so true these days.
Well, and people just want to be acknowledged and having a sincere apology that you really did care, that you flubbed up, you know, and then so even if they have another problem with you, they say, but it's okay, they'll take care of me, you know, because you know, averages, law of averages. Sometimes, you know, I mean, look at the fast food places. We're so on demand of going through fast food drive-through fast, and then you get upset that they do something wrong, but they're perpetually doing the same thing, and they're gonna mess up. And you know,
just don't drive away before you check your order.
Yeah.
And you'll be a whole lot happier that you don't have to go all the way back to have it rectified.
Right. So I mean, there's things that you got to take ownership in, and you got to take ownership. Well, you had a chance to look at your order and you didn't.
Correct.
You know, so nobody wants to admit that they made a mistake and they went home and that they have to go back for something. So how many times it takes you for not having your ketchup at home to say, I need to check this so I don't have this, you know, it gets into that muscle memory thing, right? I mean, you got to, if you're going to keep having the same experience, maybe it's not their fault, it's your fault for not taking initiatives to make sure that it's not a problem.
So, you know, I live by two main laws and then a couple of principles. And the two main laws are, one's the Hippocratic oath, first do no harm. And the second is add value, go the extra mile whenever you can. You know, for people, if you do no harm first and you add value to them, you're bound to make a win-win for both. Now, the other two principles are, one is been around since the Bible's been around, that's do unto others the way they prefer to be done unto, or do the way they want to be done to, which makes a lot of sense. Or, I'm sorry, don't treat others any way other than how you want to be treated.
Right.
That's the golden rule.
Right.
Do unto others the way you want to be done. That you want them to do to you. I'm sorry, I'm screwing this up.
Treat others.
He's nervous because he's live.
No, it's not because I'm live. It's because I'm with them.
Oh, we love you.
All right, no, so the point is, do unto others the way you want others to do to you. Got that? Okay, good. Tony Alessandro, a colleague, created or popularized the platinum rule, which is do unto others the way they want to be done unto. And if you follow both of those, it's really important, because one is, how do you want to be treated? And treat people that way. Because if you don't want to be disrespected or treated bad or wait in line forever, then they probably don't either. But then the other side is equally important, and that is, how do they actually want to be treated? What do they prefer? What do they like? Because when you start asking those questions and start treating them, you're dealing with their values, their experience, not yours. And both are important in creating win-win.
You know what just dawned on me is everyone is a customer of someone.
All right.
And yet, when they're working with people, they have a customer. You always have somebody to answer to. If it's
Money
a
or not.
Yeah, money or not. So what gets me is some people can bitch so much about how they're being treated, but look how you treat people when you're working. Like, can we just? That's the elephant in the room.
Yeah, it surprises me is that the products and services that people say that they sell is really not what they're selling, right?
Mm-hmm.
In most service-based businesses, they're selling an idea, they're selling a point of view. They have a certain way that they do things, and they want to surround themselves with people to that. Now, it's like I heard one time of the actual term for it, and I can't remember, and I don't remember who it was, but what it is where, is like, let's say you lose a business deal because of dollars, right? That they don't have the funds or they don't see the value. It's that trickle through effect where you'll do the same to other people, where you'll try to nickel and dime, and then when it's happened to you, so you get it from being a buyer.
Like the butterfly effect.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And it's interesting to see it from a distance because it happens over and over again. But the congruency is consistent either way, right? If you pay whatever it is to get whatever it is, and then all of a sudden, it's just reciprocity.
Yes,
like
yes,
boomerang
absolutely. And
Well,
then,
indeed. I mean, if you pay the kindness forward, you're more apt to get kindness. You might not, but you're more apt to get it. And if you pay a hurt forward, then you're more apt to get hurt back. I mean, it's just these common sense there. You know, as someone say, karma or reciprocity or whatever.
well, I think people don't realize that they're like, yeah, but it doesn't pay for me to be nice. It does, because you have to live with yourself. So can you at least know that you did right and you were the good guy despite everything else? Because I've seen and heard people sour grapes would say, yeah, but it doesn't pay. No, it does pay. You live with yourself. You did what's right. You set the example that wasn't there.
You know what I would add, going back to Lynn's lawnmower example, very few people, although there may be some who collect lawnmowers or want a lawnmower just for the sake of having that lawnmower. Most people want it for something else, whether it's to make their yard or their lawn look beautiful so that they can look from the house or the deck and go, wow, isn't that wonderful? Or it's because they don't want the city harping on them for not cutting the grass and giving them tickets for being,
Right.
not part of the home value of the neighborhood kind of stuff. So, they're not buying a lawnmower just to have a lawnmower. They're buying a lawnmower for something more important to them. And the means of accomplishing what's important to them may be that lawnmower. It could be a different thing. It could be having somebody mow your lawn. Yes,
Yeah, or they want to make money out of it by mowing lawns,
right. But the point is, there is what they're hoping to gain above and beyond what the actual product is. Right. They're not buying the product just to have the product, unless they're a collector of some sort.
Right. Well, plus
even
then they want to feel a certain way. Right. They might cross it off a list. Maybe look for 10 years for this specific lawn, or they saved up a lot of money. Like, I'm a big fan of Larry Levine. He's a mentor of mine, but he goes, you really don't know somebody until you know their backstory.
Yes.
And every time that, whether it's in a restaurant or buying appliances or whatever it is, they have a story. They have a need, but until you find out what that need is, if you go about it robotically, like taking orders, don't be surprised if it'll be treated that way as well.
Yeah, it is funny though, because it is Debbie's a revolving. Hey, Debbie!
Debbie's here.
I made it. It is interesting though that we don't realize everything is a revolving door. Everything you do, I mean, there's checks and balances in this world. Without good, there's not bad, and vice versa. So I think if people just stop and think for a minute, the days that they're being a customer when they're the ones giving the service, and vice versa, and have the compassion, one owner to another owner, like, you going to a wedding that you didn't do, but you're not going to sit there and not see it from somebody else's perspective. I mean, you're going to say, well, we live and learn all the way around is what I'm saying. Everything's here and recycled one way or another.
Well, I mean, this day and age, and it goes back to Jeffrey Gittimer. He's one of my mentors, and I've met him personally several times, been to his place, but he wrote a book back in 1997 or 1998, Customer Satisfaction is Meaningless, Customer Loyalty is Priceless. And I think this day and age, for people to be satisfied where they're going to go anywhere, but they were satisfied with this specific company is rare these days. And if they are satisfied, they're kind of blown away. Rex, you and I talked about, like, if somebody's completely blown away by their experience, they almost have to stop and think, because it's so rare these days.
Yeah.
And they're like, what just happened here?
Yeah.
And that's before they refer them to everybody, but they have to make sense out of it because it's so unusual. You go in for a product, you get the product if there is no problems. But then you're also prepared a little bit to be like, oh, here we go.
And I love that the negative people, when they have a great service or great experience, they're like, wow, that's not what I expected.
Right.
It's the wow factor. And I love when that happens because, if you're open to it, because even those people will find something that wasn't good about the experience.
Right.
Well, something that I've taught in all my workshops for well over 40 years, Rex's rules.
Rex's rules.
The first rule of Rex's rules is go first. Meaning, if you want somebody to give you something, give them something first.
Right.
That means if you want them to listen first. If you want them to respect you, respect them first. If you want them to be friendly towards you, be friendly first. If you don't want the waiter to spit in your food, treat them nicely first. And that's throughout the experience. I mean, in other words, when the other person, customer or a relational client or a person in everyday life, a relational a friend or somebody who could be a potential friend, they know that you have their heart, their mind, their interest in your heart, and that you will do no harm, and that you will only seek to help or uplift or edify them, then most of the battles or the conflicts or the disruptions you would otherwise experience are already eliminated, and that's because you took the initiative. A lot of people sit and wait. I mean, it's one thing to pay somebody and to find out what they want and then be able to provide it, but always be willing to go first and to act first. And when they know that, see, the problem with leaders is a lot of leaders want other people to do the thing that they won't do, but a good leader does what everybody else may not want to do, but does so by example.
Yeah, lead by example.
And then the other people go, well, if that person, he or she can do it, then I could do it too. So the leader must go first to be a person of integrity and adding value and insight and vision and all that stuff. But you can too, apply it.
Well, and two other things I'd like to add to that, Rex, so thank you for the segue, is show up different, right? There's always an opportunity, like if we have a restaurant, I'll crack a joke. I'll be like, how's today been? Really can make it personal, because who knows what their day is going to look like. And it's like, it doesn't have to be a lot, but it also can be an imprint in their brain that if they're having a tough day, they can overcome it, and then the other one is never show up empty-handed. Like we always bring an idea, always bring an article, you always bring something to empower somebody. You bring your notebook, you come ready to take notes, because there's always something that you can take down. There's always an idea. I'm the type of person that it's like, I'll take on any education I can get, whether or not I can afford it, because it's like I'm looking for that one idea. And if I'm looking for that one idea, who knows what I can do with it.
A beloved friend who's now passed away, sadly, a guy named AJ, wrote a book called The Art of Schmoozing.
Schmoozing, I like that.
Carny, like a gypsy, he's a carny. They call it chotch. Never show up empty-handed, but bring chotch. Bring a gift, bring something, as a token of your esteem to them. If you're going to go visit somebody, bring them a gift, or if you're staying with somebody or showing up in an office, bring something. Again, it's called Chotch. You can get the book, The Art of Schmoozing. AJ's gone, but his book still exists.
But I wanted to bring you melted, so you can't have it. But I was gonna, yeah.
I'm trying to lose this girlish.
Brian, are you so excited? Rex joined.
I am.
Steffi's asking, are you excited that Rex showed up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's this guy?
It was a surprise. But that's what I do.
It was great, because we live within 45 minutes of each other.
But I was on the other side of the world, and suddenly I found myself here. And I
Who
don't
would have
know
thought?
I don't know how Lynn does it.
Who would have thought? There's no wind. You just got here.
And
we live within about 45 minutes.
Yeah,
and
and
haven't ever met in person until today.
I love it. That's how it is when I go to New York. People say we live right here, and it takes Lynn to come to town to unite people, and it just
That's cool.
always makes my heart happy to know that people take time. And Rex made sure to call me yesterday, and Rex and I will be together tomorrow night to do the show together. And so I'm just super blessed. It leaves me speechless. And we're going to be closing here in this minute. So any last words for you guys?
I don't do last words because that sounds like the end of
Yeah.
everything.
Okay, that's right.
I might make a comment before we do other things.
Yes,
but
that sounds good. Okay.
No final comments, no last words, none of that stuff. No, not in parting, but okay.
No, I would just say it's great. After 3 years, I get to meet Lynn in person for the first time, and who would have thought? We did 5 shows. We did 5 shows a week for a couple of years.
Yep.
And we had some differences that we overcame, and we grew as people. And it's crazy what can come to fruition.
Yeah, and and I love the fact that it's just because Brian and I talk and we share how our views, how we look at things. And there's times that Brian and I come on the show and we're not in the best moods, but I can guarantee you one thing he'll say, at least I can say for myself, is that by the time we're done doing the show, we are better for it and better feeling good mood by the time we do leave. So.
And I think too, as Debbie said, communication is key 100%. Doesn't mean that anybody has to agree with it or whatever, but you get it out, you don't hold it within. I also think too is that with the whole live streaming, is that one of the things that was missed or maybe overseen by authors that created books throughout, the health crisis that we had, was the skill sets that you develop as you're using it for something else, like to be in the moment, to improvise, and you might have a little understanding of what you're going to talk about, but then as long as you address those things, it's free to go, instead of something so scripted and so tight that you get stressed out over what you should say here and there versus having it just be a conversation that everybody can be involved in. So the skill sets are priceless.
Wait, you missed a word in your script right there.
Yeah. It was written on the screen, everyone. I swear. Everything I wrote it down. It's in the teleprompter.
Extemporaneous but it comes from his heart, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, we love that. So
and I think that those skills, not only for whatever you're using them for, whether it's live streaming or out in the world, will serve you well. Will serve you well regardless. Because this kind of thing right here in communicating messages isn't going anywhere within this format. How about you? Final words.
I'm just grateful you two handsome guys showed up, and that
We're
just
handsome.
Yes, very handsome. I'm a lucky girl. Well, I love you both so much. I'm so grateful here. Rex, anything else you want to add?
Good. You didn't say final words.
Yeah.
No, I'm
She
learning
learned.
to correct.
She's learning.
Would you like to add something? Yeah, just seek to uplift and edify yourself and others too. And if you seek to edify others and uplift them, you reap the rewards, and so do they. So it's a circular kind of experience when you first seek to make anyone and everyone feel better. And that little saying, whoever first said it, leave somebody better than off when you leave them than when you first found them.
Oh,
And that's what we hope we're doing with you.
and Debbie says she wished she was here, and I wish she was too.
She was here.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yep.
Where the heck are you, Debbie?
Yeah, you're
And
only
you're
8 hours
needed.
away.
You're needed.
We'll wait. Get up here.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, Deb. You be here tomorrow. Just it's your 8 hours. That's not a bad drive.
Yeah, there you go.
They have planes now. You can fly here.
Oh, let's not talk about planes.
Anyway,
Let me tell you.
We love all of you, and thank you all.
Thank you so much, you guys. Love ya.